Everything sounds good.
Yeah. And then I'll squeeze in here. So just adjust that so you get Luke on a little bit, please.
Gotcha.
That's good. I mean, as long as we got something. All right. Let's go. Let's talk some Sixers. Ho hum. What's up, Gerald?
Oh, good shot. He's got really the funniest take on Sixers there ever was.
All right, we got 12 yards.
Let me give it We can share. We're all good.
Ooh, that's loud. I mean, had everything ready to go, all ready to go, and we had to restart everything. My freaking goodness. It's Friday. Hi. Well, I guess we were waiting. That's what it was. And a good afternoon, everybody. It is the Daily Ticket. Gambling on a good Friday. Hello, everybody. As always, smooth operation. iHeartRadio Philadelphia. We got the most amazing equipment that does not work. And it just blows my mind.
Yeah, this isn't actually your technology thing.
No.
It's not your fault. Usually it's just you touch technology and it breaks immediately.
Correct.
That's not what happened. It already wasn't working.
This is crazy. But we are up and running. As you'll see, we got a blimp cam, I want to say. Say hi, everyone, to the blimp cam. What's up?
It's Goodyear blimp cam.
Yeah. As Powers has got a couple other things going on. He's making it work. It's a Powers production. I don't want to say that because I'm ranting and raving. It had nothing to do with it.
It's not my fault, right?
You just let me know what you need me to do here, Mike. And a good afternoon. It's the Gambler Block Party. I promise you, we're going to have a lot of fun today. We got a lot of good things to get into, some dumb top 5 lists, having some fun as far as block party music is concerned. And man, we're at the halfway point. So I got a little slap that bag halfway point of the 2023.
Man, you love slap that bag.
Yeah,
that's just a Sean Bryce staple.
Slap that bag is a staple on the Daily Ticket. You're right about that. Joining us, we got a cast of characters here, as always, with our viewing parties. And it's always fun to get everybody together because, look, this is where, there's nothing really crazy right now to discuss. We get it, free agency, understood, but there's no final scores to debate, right? Like the Eagles didn't lose by 7. So we got a bunch of rumors to break down, and we'll be all over everything as far as the NBA is concerned. But it's the middle of the summer, so we're not going to force anything here, all right? This is what we're going to do. We're going to have a damn good time for the next 3 hours. We got food. We got the best damn voices in sports talk radio in this city, and we're ready to get after it. John Jansen, as always, you can hear him on the Daily Ticket, of course, on the Gambler itself. John, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Sean. I've been up since 5 a.m. I've been waiting for this block party all day. Let's get going. Now, the vibes are low right now. What is going on?
Wow, the vibes
going on
here? The vibes are low because we're not on the camera. That's why.
Come on.
Well,
it's a block party.
I'm not yelling
Where's
at you,
the music
Powers.
at? Where's the food's all here? Come on.
Call my digital guy. Hey, man, our cameras isn't working. I don't know. Hey, man, we got state-of-the-art facilities. Look at this. Beautiful cameras. How much you think that camera costs right there, Nick? How much you think that camera costs? $4,000.
Wait, really?
It's ridiculous. We can't use it. We can't use it.
We got 2.
Yeah,
I don't even want to know the expenses to put this studio together. I don't want to know that.
Talking all things 76ers, our insider Sean Bernard here. Hello, Sean.
Yeah, we do have some news on that front with the James Harden stuff going down. So a little curveball that I don't think we were all ready for, but excited to get into that. And in my opinion, the best case scenario for the Sixers right now.
Can we do something about Bob Marks making the worst trades I've ever seen on live television?
Can you just hang on until
I'm sorry.
right
I
around.
can't get over it. I
Of
can't get over
course.
it.
Coming to the Sixers.
Hardenstein coming to the Sixers.
Of course.
Hardenstein.
Who the hell is Hartenstein?
I've never heard of that dude in my life.
I think I went to Hebrew school with him, but
Sure, it's not Hartenstein. I don't know.
I think it might be Hartenstein. I think you're
Our returning champion, ladies and gentlemen, the great Gerald Colton with us here on a Friday afternoon. Always great to get you on live, Gerald. Of course, you join us every Monday, but in person, the viewing parties. You become a staple, and you also bring the other side. I feel like a lot, which is a good thing.
yeah, I've been a little bit pessimistic or negative on the Sixers for the last 12 years. But I don't necessarily disagree with Sean's comment that, you know, it's a best case scenario compared to him just opting out altogether. But there's so many reasons that I'm so bothered by what has transpired and fearful as to what's going to come on down the road. So we'll talk about all that.
Fearful.
Fearful. Well,
Not good.
Okay. All right. I'm not there, but we will, of course,
I'm
dive right
close to
into it.
there.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing the Liberty Line crew, our solo member, Mr. Luke Arcani. Of course, he's all things Phillies for us, MLB Insider.
with the Drew Timmy jersey, by the way.
Yeah, Drew
Beautiful.
Timmy jersey. Of course, man. Luke, how we doing?
Good. We got one of the hottest teams in baseball, and they have somehow lost ground in the standings. I don't understand how that works.
Hey, Luke,
but
you live in Jersey, right?
I do.
Yeah, I could tell.
Yeah.
Mike Powers. It's a Powers production in the building. What's up, man? Powers. Ty is. I know that. Yeah. Powers and Mike and Ty. Yeah, Ty, Mike Powers. Yes. Mike, hi. How you doing? Everything good?
Yeah, good now.
All right.
You seem flustered over there. It
Yeah.
seems like there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I'm carrying a tray of food because I was like, I'll bring the food.
Yes.
He's like, we go live in 10
Yeah,
minutes.
what did you get?
Do you have your cameras? So, but we got it done.
It's all right. We're up and running.
we're up.
We're here till 6 o'clock, so we're gonna make everything smooth. And of course, Ty is with us as well, man, holding it down. Folks, get involved in the conversation at Fox PHL again. We want to hear from you. Of course, we're gonna have some fun today, but we got to open it up. Sean Bernard, I saw you in the trade machine this morning. You put it out there, and I don't know, a lot of people weren't really buying what you were selling. So let's just jump right into it, because I think Gerald is probably in the majority vibes for all things Philadelphia sports fans or 76ers fans. And that is, we understand that James Harden's out, but what can you really get in return? And at the end of the day, like, James Harden probably coming back was the best case scenario, but here we are. That doesn't look like that's going to be in the cards. I don't believe so. Now, this morning I'm hearing, of course, Daryl Morey wanted James Harden, but he wanted it at his price, $35 million. So let's just start with this. Are you 100% right now that James Harden will not play for the 76ers moving forward?
Yes, I think that's
100%.
100%. I think we've seen the James Harden that has taken the court when he doesn't want to play for that team, and that is a situation the Sixers should want to stay away from. I know Daryl Morey was super patient with the Ben Simmons holdout and the whole situation around that. This to me is a little different. And I also think there's a little more in good faith negotiations here, especially because of the fact that James Harden is to some extent helping the Sixers out here by allowing them to keep that max slot, to keep that financial asset, and just get something in return for him rather than him walking for free. Now, this isn't just a straight up favor by James Harden. Like, there was no true market out there for him. I think there's teams that he desires, and just frankly, there wasn't the interest that he expected or believes that he is owed. So this is a two-way street, but I think to me, the bottom line is we know there's no world where James Harden is leading the Sixers to a championship. There's now a world where they have a chance to get something else, to change things up. And this is the kind of the last ditch Hail Mary trade that has to happen to build a competitive core.
Wow.
I felt like Harden was the last ditch. I don't know. It always felt like that was it. That was the one.
I just
now
I
just
feel
don't
a
know
lot
what they're
better
gonna
after hearing Sean talk, though. I do. Like, I could breathe, exhale.
Yeah,
right?
but as you're saying that, I see in the background like Hartenstein and Nicholas Batum. Like, I don't know, because I want to feel optimistic. And look, there could be a circumstance where they do get something back that's worthy of being a contender, but I just have no faith in them to do it.
Gerald, we exchanged text messages last night, and Gerald is just not feeling anything James Harden, of course, what you can get in return. So go ahead and pick right up. I don't know if a lot's changed since we exchanged those text messages last night, but of course, there's been a million and one other rumors. Hartenstein could be coming here. But your overall 30,000 feet up take is what?
I love Sean's analysis, and He did. Yeah, I feel like I just got out of the shower. Like it's refreshing and
Irish Spring.
But I think the fact that I've been on the planet for at least 3 more decades, maybe more than he, has made me so damn cynical about this team that it's really hard for me to feel anything good about it right now. And by the same token, you also have to trace these last couple of years under Daryl Morey to see just what a disaster this is. Let's go the whole process, which is you lose intentionally for 4 years going back. I guess we're like 11 years into it. Intentionally lost for 4 years to draft picks to ultimately try to win a championship. Well, we are 11 years later, having passed the second round of the playoffs and had no draft pick, didn't have one draft pick, and are left with a future that looks so bad. But a few years ago, this genius that never won anything in Houston was the target of the Sixers organization and brought here to do what? To bring in James Harden, okay, which started the evolution of, I'm not pointing the fingers out for Ben Simmons because that is on Ben Simmons, but the first salvo was they were trying to trade Ben for James Harden, which just started everything free-falling. And so finally, like a year and a half later, they get James Harden. They had other things on the table that could have secured the organization better. And Sean, I was on with you when the trade happened. And I said right then, I didn't like it because you're getting an aging, declining veteran. The only way this works is if you win in the next year and a half. You win over either the 2022 season or 2023 season. We saw that didn't happen. And now, a year ago, Harden goes to them and supposedly says, I'll take less money because I want to be part of a winner. And so go out and use this money to get someone else. Who'd we get? PJ Tucker.
Yep.
And then trade deadlines, McDaniels and Dedmon. They haven't done anything. And so now, and here's the part that I had this on pretty good source. I can't divulge a source, but that Morey, if you remember, I said to you, Sean, right after the season, when Morey's press conference says that, well, we can't talk to him. Now, I've been an agent for 30 years.
That's BS.
Not
that you were an agent for 30 years, but yes.
Well-timed. Don't let anyone be an agent.
Let me back up.
Okay, so but the fact is, you can always speak to your own players under contract, which Harden still was then and still is today. You can always talk to him. And frankly, the other teams in the league can talk to everybody. They just do it smarter than clearly the Sixers. Apparently, the Sixers were very, very scared of a tampering thing, which I don't know how tampering even is raised when it's your own player. And so they didn't even have discussions with Harden. And you're hearing now that Harden was unhappy with how things went down. So you can have that discussion. Okay, what are we talking about long term? And now they've both dug in the sand, although we haven't heard from the Sixers as usual. I mean, have we, Sean? I mean, not a peep. So the only thing we're hearing is through the media, which we know is leaked mostly through Harden types of sources. And we're in a situation where he sure still controls them. But the one thing that Sean said, he says no chance he plays for the Sixers. If the Sixers took the onus here, they have control.
Correct.
He's still under contract to the Sixers.
But we're gonna get Fat Harden again, where he's not gonna work out anymore.
I'm not saying we
but
want him.
Daryl Morey wanted him back, though. Correct.
Well,
at his price.
Did he not get rid of the coach as a big part was because Harden didn't like him? I'm so mind-boggled of the whole process, the way this whole has evolved from bringing Morey in to get Harden, getting Harden when there's other better things out there, getting rid of all our draft picks and all our future, and now being boxed in by Harden because he opted in. Now he controls the Sixers. Like, it is so mind-boggling. I can't even, and I have no confidence that they will trade Harden for anything worthwhile because the track record says about all their moves, period. And then who really wanted Harden? Because why is Harden opting in? He's opting in because there wasn't that much of a market because his agents, even though the Sixers wouldn't talk to him, clearly we're talking to other teams and found out the market wasn't what they were hoping it would be.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. And I am cynical as hell. So I love the fact that he's so untainted yet.
Untainted
all
Sean. I love
all these years on the planet, all these years being a Philadelphia 76ers.
Luke, follow that.
Oh, man, it's pretty hard. But the whole thing with Harden for me right now is why. So like you said, there seems to not be as much of a market for him as I guess people thought there would be. Why Why would he opt in? Is it
So,
that he
just to-
believes that that'll be the most money he can get? Like, does he think he won't get more money than that on a
The
yearly basis?
The short answer is the salary cap situation. Is with the way the aprons and the tiers work with it, is there was a limited amount of teams that could physically make him an offer. Houston was one of them, which was the common team brought up that had the cap space to sign him. By him opting in and being able to be traded, likely to the Clippers, which is where he seems to want to go, they didn't have money to straight up offer him a contract, but they could get him via trade. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of the basics of it. I still think a lot of this boils down to there wasn't enough of a market for him. This was a nice
he used Houston
because
he used Houston
absolutely
because that
used
was the
Houston.
one team that could actually take him on and that had a somewhat decent roster enough to justify. Hey, bring me on.
Is it
We'll
that
do something.
easy? All you gotta do is throw somebody up against the wall to say that he used them, and that was the first team that came out, of course.
Yeah, he
but
used Shams and Woj.
there
And all.
had to
That's
be
why the
some
NBA
legit-
trade rumor machine is the worst in all of sports.
there had to be
It's the worst.
some
I was
legit.
cooking on that thing yesterday.
Yeah, it's hard.
Cooking up every trade failed.
Yeah.
Everyone.
All right, back over to Sean real quick, and I'm curious. You heard what Gerald said, and just as far as getting anything back. All right, guys, I get home and I got Brian Windhorst talking about Damian Lillard. I got Kyrie Irving. Like, at least he's pitching names.
The Kyrie Irving thing's not going away too.
Understood, but he's pitching names, and I'm not trying to sit here and say that he would never do that because he's in the machine. But I feel like Windhorst is more connected, so maybe he's hearing some things. And what his thoughts were, okay, if you're able to go ahead and move Harden, get a couple pieces back, and maybe you go ahead and throw Maxey into this, you could possibly entice Portland. I'm not saying that I'm buying it, but is there any chance in your mind that what Windhorst said like yesterday on PTI and this morning on ESPN, that there's a chance? Give me a percentage that either Kyrie, Dame, or
Dame. What's the percentage of Dame? That's
just
what I want to know.
a name.
Yeah, Dame I'd probably put a little lower on the tier of things. I do think there's very much a world where they can get what I would consider like a B tier star in this. And I'm going to include that to mean the Zach LaVines, the DeMar DeRozans, the Dame Lillard, Kyrie Irving, that kind of tier of player. DeJounte Murray is another guy that interests me and I think could pop out of that. The same reasons that I talked about with Tobias Harris for being that kind of like financial appeal of getting the freedom, getting the cap space off that. James Harden now carries that exact same promise on this 1-year deal. He's guaranteed to be a free agent next year. And there's definitely a little more juice because he is James Harden. Now, this isn't a player that, like, if you're trying to build a contender that I believe should be a smart investment, that's a guy that you're going into. We've seen this the past 2 years. We know who he is at this point. We know the track record. But I think there's plenty of teams like the Los Angeles Clippers that are still talking their way into it. So for me, I can't escape this deal. This combined, whatever you want to, whether it's one trade or two, I do think James Harden and Tobias Harris, neither one of them are on the Sixers, at least by the conclusion of next year. You have to walk away with some level of B tier star between whether that's one trade or two. And I see one of them as kind of your swing for the fences deal for this to retool. I think Zach LaVine's the most likely guy at this point in time. And I think the other trade is kind of to retool and get the guys around him. The Clippers are a team that have plenty of those guys. The Marcus Morris,
Clippers
the
are
Nick
out of their minds.
Yes.
What is
You have two guys that are
Ballmer-
already injury risks, and now you want to get James Harden, who is also an injury risk.
Oh yeah, like sure.
What is you're going to have an
Ballmer on?
all-star injured reserve. That's where you're going to have.
Ballmer is smoking some serious stuff out there in Cali if he believes that that's going
Well,
to
you know
work
what
out.
He's trying to get. He's trying to get the names because they're building this whole
new arena. Yeah.
All right,
They're
well,
they're trying to make headlines. They're trying to be the top.
and
dog.
we're just trying to improve and have a team that will be better.
So I do want to ask you, Sean, real quick, because you are saying Levine's a B-star, and I agree with that. But Chicago has not always been good, and so I think that kind of holds him back a little bit. What would happen if he is on a roster with Embiid and then also a guy like Nick Nurse that could probably get the best out of him? Is that? I mean, I'm not saying he's a high-end top, A-star, but feels like he can get to a pretty high level with good players and coaches around him.
Yeah, I think so for sure. I like LaVine. I think he's better than his reputation out there. I think he's a guy who in another situation could look quite better. He is one of the few players around the league with a relationship with Joel Embiid. They're both true handling guys. They have a connection there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and as far as like Harden straight up, you can argue is the better player. But as far as fitting into a system, doing what the team needs and what the team asks, Zach LaVine's a way better guy for that. He's going to be a guy willing to fly around screens, run some plays, do things. He doesn't need the ball in his hands for 20 out of 24 seconds in a shot clock. So when we talk about building better fitting pieces, and still top end talent, that's a name for me. And the Bulls are a team like I keep circling back to because in my mind, it makes no sense the way they keep running it back.
Yeah.
I know they just gave Vucevic a contract yesterday, which also doesn't make any sense to me, but they're stuck in this middle ground, that dangerous NBA purgatory of not being a contender, not being bad enough to find a route to improve. And to me, it's time for them to at least take some stab at blowing it up. So the Bulls make sense to me.
All right, we got a ton to discuss. Trust me, we're going to get to it all. 4 o'clock, we're going to be mixing some other topics in. We got Victor Williams. He's going to join the party. Buster from Q102 is down the shore. He's going to join us at 5 o'clock. But, folks, we'd love to get you involved. Once again, a lot of people are watching us on the stream here on YouTube at Fox Sports The Gambler, listening to us on the iHeartRadio app on The Gambler, of course. Love to get you involved. At Fox PHL Gambler is our socials. Simple question. Are you confident that the team is going to be better after this offseason? Talking about the 76ers. That's it right there. Everything that is transpiring in front of us, everything you just heard, are you confident that the Sixers are going to come out smelling like roses, or we're going to take a step back? And for crying out loud, I got people talking about missing the playoffs next year.
Okay, that's not happening.
Thank you. That's ridiculous. If Joel Embiid is out there with PJ Tucker, Tobias Harris, and Tyrese Maxey, they're making
that's the thing. If you just want to straight up remove Harden and keep the rest of the starting lineup and add whoever you want in there, that's like a 5th seed in the Eastern Conference.
It's not about making the playoffs. It's about winning a damn title. No, I know. That's where I just lose my mind.
But miss the playoffs, no way.
Yeah, a little strong there. All right, we're going to be right back. Do not go anywhere. At Fox PHL Gambler, do you think we're going to come out smelling like roses after it's all said and done? Don't go anywhere. More after this.
All right. Give me Zach LaVine.
I'm in.
I'm in. I think I might be in on that.
Talk to me, Powers. Talk to me.
So your move is it'd be just Harden straight up to LaVine.
I think you got to be
pretty close.
I think you're still sending Harden to the Clippers. I think the Clippers just want to send a ton of stuff, not like a big ticket thing.
Yeah, they don't want to give up.
Okay.
They don't even want to give up.
Right.
I definitely want Sean. Could you get Sean's close-up camera? Because he's going to do a lot of talking. And then somebody texted me about Luke's mic.
Yeah,
I thought
mean,
it sounded.
he says he's going to be 100% next season, but
This is not going to happen. But hanging on to both spies and Hornet is their best. In return, that makes you a champion right away.
but I think if they do that, Embiid probably requests a trade, and Morey's probably fired. So that's why they
That'd be
won't.
good then.
So that's going live over.
Bonus.
Yeah.
That's
Are
different.
you as down with him as I am? I can't stand it.
I'm fine with it. I don't
Embiid?
care.
No,
Morey?
no, more.
Oh.
Embiid's, you know, he's.
I don't know, man.
This is the downest I've been on him for sure.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I've been down him
Has-
always. So
Yeah.
I have not, but yeah.
They don't win next year. He's gone.
See, I don't think he's ever gone. I think they just play him out as long as possible.
You
then
think
they're
he's-
irrelevant.
Well, is he comfortable just doing that? I guess he would be.
I think he eventually just dips.
Yeah, I think
He's going to be tired of playing with a new roster every year.
Well, then it's going to get to a point where he's just comfortable not being the guy.
Do you think
he And we'll even go wants
to
elsewhere.
really win that bad?
I still do. I still
never-
think
I never did.
does.
Priority, and that's why.
This is his year to
All right, coming back.
Yeah.
You want to add Sean, Mike, or no?
.com.
Yeah, I know it's the open for Dick Girardi and Mike Kern when they're at the Parks Sportsbook every Saturday. Sports here, there, and everywhere. Of course, John Jansen and Kyle Nunamaker, a part of that show as well. But I'm not allowing them to take this song as theirs. It connects.
Too late.
It's great. It's their open.
It's a great song for a show that's Saturday.
Correct.
In Parks Casino.
Correct. It's
beautiful.
It's top notch.
It's amazing.
But
that song was literally made decades ago for us.
Gerald, Chicago. How strong is Chicago?
I love Chicago.
Chicago is cool. They're great.
And if you've ever seen them, and they're still going
No,
strong.
I have never seen them.
You can still catch them usually in a tour with a group like an Earth, Wind, and Fire stuff. But
Hell yeah.
They got, they got great horn section. I mean, you hear the intros. The music is so much different than what's produced today.
This to me,
I love a good horn section.
Yeah, this is a block party jam right here. This is a block party jam.
It's a block party jam?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look,
I know nothing about block parties, so I'm being taught things.
The beautiful thing about a block party is it's come one, come all, right? And if you live in that area, you're coming down. So that's anybody and everybody.
Speaking of, somebody else is in the area, and I gotta get him.
Nice, do that. Yeah. So come on, come all, and we mix it up.
Any idea what 25 or 6 to 4 means?
No idea.
I don't either. It was just one of the great mysteries of the world.
I love it. Gerald Colton with us. Of course, we got a packed house. We're streaming on our YouTube channel at Fox Sports The Gambler. Powers Production making it happen behind the scenes, him and Ty. Nick, I didn't introduce you. I apologize. Nick Johnson with us as well. Great to have you, sir. Of course, busy day for you, helping out with all things 104.5 and Q102 as well. So great to see you again, man.
Great to be here. Thanks.
Absolutely, brother. All right. Let's continue the Sixers conversation because, again, I put it out there for the people. Like, how confident are you right now in Daryl Morey getting this right and us coming out, the 76ers coming out on the other side, removing James Harden, getting whatever you can, and then by the start of the season, this team being in a better position? First of all, I threw this up on socials today, a little earlier this morning, just trying to get the gauge on Daryl Morey's confidence from the fan base. 57%. We got a lot of votes on this. Simple question. Are you confident Daryl Morey is a decision maker for the Sixers? Yes, 57%. No, 42%. Sean, you like those numbers?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could stand up here and fight harder, be more confident in this. I have a ton of concern about the likelihood of that. I like that there's still some optimism out there. I honestly expect that number to be more tilted in the negative direction there. But yeah, it is a bit of a coin flip. I'm excited for change. That's my biggest thing is we know it wasn't working. This is something different, but they have to get this exactly right for it to work.
All right. Late entry. Hello, Tim O'Keefe. Yeah.
What's up? How's it going?
Fresh off of being hitched.
I got my first drink.
Yeah.
And you haven't lost
One
yet.
better than the
Not yet.
Sixers.
and of course, what comes after getting married? The honeymoon?
Yes, sir.
Where'd you go?
Italy and Greece.
Come on.
Fantastic.
Dude.
I as much as I'm happy to be back, I'm still partially there, man. Oh my God, it's incredible.
I haven't seen you in forever, man. So good to see you, bro.
Likewise. Nice to see you. You guys got a great crew here. This is fantastic.
Yeah, man. It's a Powers production. What do you want? This is what we're doing over here. We're talking 76ers, so of course that's the big one right now, and I'll tee you up. Welcome to the party. Your thoughts, James Harden getting out of Dodge?
Admittedly, shocked with the opt-in piece. I know I was listening on the way over. Like it surprised me, right? We all thought, it's free agency, or maybe he just would have re-signed here, stick it out. I am really curious about that. But look, now we have an opportunity to get something back. I've seen some crazy rumors out there. I'm sure you guys have too. Like I saw, I think it was one article was saying, we're getting RJ Barrett from the Knicks and something like that. It's not going to be, look, I love it, but it's not going to happen. No, we're going to get something very, very reasonable. I'll put my hand up. Hopefully if you can give me a Norman Powell, I'd be ecstatic if that's what comes back from the Clippers, but at least we're getting something, right? We weren't going to win in the Harden era, but
when I put the hand up, that means normally there's something on the timeline that no, you're all right. You're good. You ain't got to apologize for that. Ramona Shelburne checking in. Do we approve of Ramona? Is she connected? Is it okay if we put out her stuff?
Yeah. Not fire her yet?
They did not.
The
Sixers are not planning to extend Tyrese Maxey this summer, sources tell ESPN. He is still seen as a big part of their future, but the team wants to delay an extension for him to preserve flexibility. Sean Bernard, your thoughts on that as what?
this is the right thing for now. This comes with a lot of trust. I know there's not the best relationship between Rich Paul and the Sixers dating back to the Ben Simmons thing, but for the Sixers' best financial outlook, this has the potential to open up an additional max slot. So with all that's on the table, we know that currently James Harden and Tobias Harris on an expiring. This allows the potential for an additional max slot in the world that is probably the right move for the Sixers, which is to play out the contracts, let them walk, clear up the money. This now leaves a guaranteed max slot and change. But like I said, it does come with trust, and you do risk somebody else trying to get their hand in the pot there.
So essentially, Gerald, I'm taking from this, and whether I'm right or wrong, you let me know. You don't want to be giving Tyrese Maxey a big contract at this point in time. Not to say that they would, but he could be a piece that they could be throwing into a deal, and the contract that he's on is probably more valuable than if they did extend him, correct?
Well, he's a really attractive piece. I think to me,
absolutely.
he'd be more attractive than either Harden or Tobias Harris.
Definitely.
So
he's the only reason why I would even think for a second, again, small 2, 3, 4%, that they have a chance of getting a guy like Dame. Like, he's the only guy that is worth anything.
And I'm still not completely sure who he is. I think a lot of us are in agreement. You know, he hasn't developed the point guard skills, the vision, the creating for other people skills, even though he's improved.
Fighting over this point guard. I'm fighting over this point guards. Well, my boys are so caught up in this. And I'm not saying you are, but and he's so caught up in this. What do you mean he can't play? Can he not improve?
He has shown that he will improve because he's a coach's kid and he's a hard worker and he's impressed me at every stage. But what I don't like is his overall court vision and his creation for anyone else other than himself. He's great at that.
Can Nick Nurse change that, tweak that? Can he improve that?
I'm open-minded to think that maybe, but I haven't seen any evidence of it so far. That's all. I'm hopeful, but
so fair criticism when people come out like Jansen and says he can't be your point guard.
Right now, he can't.
I think we don't know yet, though. Like, we haven't really seen him in that opportunity. James Harden was very clearly the point guard and the guy that runs the team. I'm kind of done putting caps on what Maxey can and can't be because he is breaking things every step of the way. He's answered every question that has been asked of him this season. And I do think long-term, this is a huge question that needs to be answered when you think about what you want to pair him with and what the ideal making out a roster is around Maxey and presumably Embiid. Do you need another point guard-like player there? Can you get away with Maxey and going with a jumbo-sized roster around him, building wings, things like that? So they do have to find the answer to this question, but I'm not ready to write it in as a no yet.
You were going to continue?
Well, and getting back, it's actually backtracking for a point. Tim's point is it's great that he opted in because of the fact that now you get something for him. And I could not agree more because just letting Harden walk at this point was no value. So he opts in. But now your best case scenario, we were talking about a little bit amongst ourselves that you might be best off if you've actually played this year with Harden, with Tobias Harris, and got their cap space with expiring contracts next year.
But that ship sailed, though, right?
Well, it seems to have, based on what we've heard so far, but we still haven't heard anything from the Sixers.
Yeah, when Shams put that out yesterday, James Harden's played his last game for the 76ers. I was like, well, that's a little strong there, but then these guys know more than me.
Maybe. I mean, look, everyone's got their sources and everybody's got the reason that they get fed, which is why John goes crazy at the NBA rumor mill, because everyone's just leaking stuff for their own advantage, but it may or may not be true. So I wouldn't just trade Harden for the sake of trading him and to just make him happy. I mean, we've done enough for this guy, but unfortunately, the NBA, that's how it works.
If only he got jewelry for trade requests, man, his hand would be filled.
Yeah, the Kyrie, KD, and James Harden trio is up to 7 trade requests since they teamed up.
That's legendary.
Unbelievable, man, where we're at right now. But this is when you get in bed with those guys. You know what's coming, right? Like, we all knew that if this didn't turn into a championship, it probably would have went sour. I don't know. That's how I felt with James Harden all along. And Kyrie, good grief. People still counting on Kyrie. That's just ridiculous.
And then, Sean, we knew it was a short window, okay? All right, now we're maybe the close of that James Harden window. But your question is, can the Sixers get something to get better? My concern is, can they get something that makes the end of this era not so imminent? Like, is there something to prolong what we can get maybe with Embiid? Because right now, the way I see it coming down is, all right, we're at the dwindling time, and however many years we got left of Embiid, and then we're irrelevant. Because I know it's been mentioned that maybe they get rid of, Luke has suggested maybe they get rid of Embiid after one more year. I don't think they ever get rid of Embiid, not on their own anyway. No. And so I think we're going to ride him till the end, and hopefully they get enough stuff, whether in current talent or future draft assets again, to get us back to, or space, whatever it might be, to get him potentially to pick up the pieces to potentially still win a championship. We're not winning it next year as of current construction.
I don't think the organization would truly ever get rid of Embiid. I don't really think I don't think anybody thinks that. I think it's going to eventually come to a point where if they keep putting these stars next to Embiid and they keep changing guys, right? You go Jimmy, then you go this, and then James, and then all these different guys meshing all different teams together every year, and it just can't work and does not work every year. I think eventually Embiid's just going to be done with it. I don't think we've gotten to that point yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if 2 years, if he gets in there and the same thing keeps happening every single year. They put this big star next to him, he underperforms, Embiid underperforms in the playoffs. They lose in the second round. I just feel like eventually he's just going to go.
Well,
I just feel like
that's the NBA.
NBA.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
the NBA. Exactly. And it wouldn't shock me one way or the other. But then again, we need to hear from Joel. And I don't, I know.
The last thing we heard was, me and James can't do it by ourselves. I mean, one of the most ridiculous comments ever.
But you know, with what just took place Monday or whatever it was with the crumble cookie nonsense with Tobias, I at least give him credit for stepping up and answering a question. Joel must have just exit stage left, played with some kids, which is great. I'm all happy that he was there.
He looked a little skinny. Did look a little skinny there.
He's just up there and he's up there in the Hamptons relaxing on the beach, right? You know, that's what he's doing. So, all right, maybe he's paying attention. Maybe the whole Joker thing is providing some motivation as far as conditioning is concerned. But again, I need to hear from him. He's the centerpiece, right? He's the number one guy. They missed out on the playoffs on advancing to an Eastern Conference final. Joker, who he took the MVP from. Everybody wanted to make it about Joel versus Joker. Does that provide motivation? The trade talk, his name was being discussed. How come Tobias steps up to a microphone, but Joel can't?
Well, Tobias and his camp, which is his father, seem to be trying to move to get him out of here.
Yeah.
And that's really why I thought he did it. Like just to really turn as much against him as possible to get rid of him. Because he knows his time is down to the last year and that this team's not winning and that his role with this team is actually going the wrong way as well.
All right. Well, I just been frustrated about that because I just expect a little bit more from Joel on that. I know it's not what he has been, but come on, man. He's got to realize that this franchise is clearly on his back right now.
Well, should we hear from the president of the franchise as well? I mean, I don't
Daryl
know.
Morey?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the really number one guy, theoretically, as far as he's the one orchestrating everything.
But Joel Embiid is the centerpiece, and the team came up short, and so much happened since they got bounced out of the playoffs. Joel's got to step up to the podium some way, somehow. But again, he doesn't have to, and he's been handed the keys of this franchise. He's made millions and millions upon millions of dollars by not doing this. So why is he going to change? And it's frustrating. Anyways, I'm one of those guys that whine about Joel Embiid speaking, and I'm sure there's plenty of fans out there that don't give a damn. All right, over to Tim. I want to come to you on this one. Fair or foul, the revisionist history on the deal. Now, I'm not trying to point fingers at Joe because he did bring it up, but there's a lot of people now banging hitting the ground about this. Oh, they should have got Tyrese Halliburton. They should have got this deal. They should have took that deal. Is that fair or foul? Because at the end of the day, they got the best player for that spot, for that year, for the run around Joel Embiid to obviously go after a championship. They made the move to get James Harden. Nobody was complaining when they got James Harden. Very few people were complaining, but now everybody wants to play the Monday morning quarterback a year and a half later.
Yep.
Is that fair?
How to put it? I think you have to look at it at the time. You got the player that you thought gave you the best shot to win. With Joel Embiid's window, it's still open right now. We don't know exactly how much longer it's going to be. I think optimistically 3 years as an elite player left. I feel like I've been saying 3 more years of Embiid for the last 4, which does scare me. So you gave yourself a shot with that. And it didn't work out. You played your cards. Obviously, I like the Halliburton move would have been the right move as we're looking back. And there was definitely people at the time who thought that, and that's definitely fair. I wasn't complaining when we got James Harden, especially we all wanted to end the Ben Simmons nonsense, get that out the door.
And you got a guy like James Harden return.
Exactly. And Harden had a former MVP, elite scorer. You gave yourself a shot for the last 2 years. Look, we all thought when we went to the playoffs, we at least had some hope. It didn't work out, and now here we are. But I'm not going to say I disliked that move at the time, but it's where we're at now.
But we threw in a couple of first-round picks
True.
as well, and that was the problem. We were just so all in on that move, and it was for such a short period of time for it to succeed.
Yeah.
We've reached the end of that, and it didn't succeed. That's where I had the problem, even from the start.
That's fair. Oh, I agree. Oh, and again, if you knew, if that's your thought from the start, then that's absolutely fair.
I said it right away.
Yeah.
I completely agree. When I look at it from when I remember where I was at that move, I was okay with it. So now I'm not going to go back and say, hey, Maury, now it's all your fault. I'm going to, eat crow.
Yeah.
I was wrong. But here we are.
I don't think it's even wrong. It's just a matter of who we felt or how we felt. And
Yeah.
like I was screaming about just getting rid of Ben Simmons before the picture day, like the media day. I just wanted enough of the whole circus. I didn't think it was good as far as for chemistry and everything, that was following the team at the time. And I was take CJ McCollum, take anything, whatever you can. And Daryl Morey held out, and he got the best player in his mind at that point in time. But here we are now, a year and a half later. He played about 100 games with playoffs included. Lackluster, as far as career with James Harden and the 76ers.
I don't want to write off what he did. He was a very good player for the 76ers.
Yeah,
I mean, 21 points, 10 rebounds, or 10 assists, 6 plus rebounds. He really did a nice
Were
job.
you surprised the 76ers have never had anyone lead the league in assists? Mo Cheeks never led the league in assists.
No, I'm not surprised by that.
Okay.
But by the same time, I mean, Maurice was elite and phenomenal, but he was in an era where there were a couple guys who just got more assists, whether he was Magic Johnson or Isaiah or Dinda
Pretty
Stockton,
good point guards,
and those guys just accumulate more assists.
I was surprised to see that on the board yesterday that James Harden was the first 76er to lead the league in assists.
Didn't Wilt lead the league in assists?
How about this? There we
so.
go. There we go.
Because
that
that was the story. Wilt saying like wanted to prove everyone wrong.
Yeah.
Basically, people said he couldn't pass, so he went out there and led the league in assists.
I will look that up while we're on.
All right.
here.
Well, ESPN had that on the screen. They got it wrong. Well, they're firing everyone. So I don't know
They
what's
filed the
going on.
graphics
Will
person.
Chamberlain did lead the league in assists 1967 to 1968.
As a member of the Philadelphia 76ers.
Boom.
So.
There it is.
702
Come on,
assists.
ESPN. Step your game up there. All right, that was Luke Arcani. Hey, coming up at 4 o'clock, speaking of thelibertyline.com, we're going to mix some Eagles in live from Sea City. We're going to hear from Victor Williams. And I would imagine Jason Kelsey's probably still on a sidewalk somewhere. Did you guys see the videos? Like everybody was challenging him to drink beer.
He's doing it. He's
Chugging.
taking it like a champ, too.
And
He wasn't backing down.
Dude was taking on everybody that wanted to walk up and just pound a beer. And I love the guy that he went up against from the other radio station. I know him very well. I've known him for years. But there were so many people on my timeline talking about how he was going to smash Kelsey. Bro, that was a bad performance, man. I would have been embarrassed.
He beat him, but he was hurt.
Yeah, he's
after
feeling
that
it.
chug. I thought
Who
it
was hurt?
Jason Kelsey. I
Oh,
thought
was
it
it?
was going to all come back up.
Yeah,
it was
close.
He was sitting there like leaned over for a good 20
At
seconds. Like
7 a.m.
he looked like
chugging
he was ready.
beer. Yeah,
Throw it
that
all
was
back up.
great. And I'll tell you what, man, the Kelsey's got the world by the you-know-what. How about last night? Did you watch the match? Travis Kelsey was a baller. What the hell was he wearing? But he was
those pants
killing
were a
it.
little odd. He was.
With the
yeah.
You tell me you watched the match?
I did watch the match.
Oh, why?
I had the match and I had the
The
Phillies. Yeah.
So many other things you can do instead of watching the match.
I thought the match was all
Oh,
right.
didn't Klay Thompson almost kill somebody?
Clay Thompson did kill someone.
Oh, did he? Okay, yeah, I thought he
Like,
did.
That was amazing. Yeah, that was part of the entertainment.
And the guys were cracking up while it happened.
I know, right?
They did. And the cameras caught them and they were laughing their you-know-what's off. And then, like, even Barkley and Ernie were, like, joking, and they were like, oh, my goodness. Like, yo, he's still down. I'll tell you, that was part of the reason why I was watching, because he was going to kill someone. Anyways, yeah, I watched the match. I'm one of those people. All right, Victor Williams will be joining us coming up at 4 o'clock. We're going to have some fun with him. Of course, we'll just dip our toes in the Philadelphia Eagles water. We'll get, his thoughts on where we're at right now. And, of course, Jalen Hurts at the top of that list. So much to discuss, folks. We're just getting started here. We got some food delivered that we're about to dig in from our friends over at Frank's Steaks and Burgers. Let's go. It's a Powers production, baby. Frank's Steaks and Burgers. You can check them out online at frankssteaksphilly.com. We're about to dig in. We got it all out there. We got some wings. We got some really good grub. So I'm looking forward to having some food here at the block party on the Gambler. But coming up at 4 o'clock, we got Victor Williams. 5 o'clock, we'll check in for Buster down at, is he at Seattle? Wildwood. He's at Wildwood. And Buster's got some big breaking news that will be dealing with us here on the Gambler as well.
One thing I do have to warn about, we are talking with Victor at 4 o'clock when he's in Sea Isle. Where would you be at 4 o'clock in Sea Isle?
Not on the phone with you guys. Definitely not on the phone.
Just got to make sure we got that warning out there.
Yeah. All right. It's the Daily Ticket. Do not go anywhere. More after this. How we doing, Powers?
4 o'clock in Seattle. I'd be
Appreciate it. And where you been? Where in Italy? Where?
So we did Rome and then Florence.
But the audio is there.
We did a day in Athens.
Okay.
And then we did
I tried to hear. I tried to press play on mine.
I got to slide out, fellas.
Hey, bro, good to see you,
Yeah,
Nick.
good to see you, man.
See you guys.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
It is hard.
You gonna be
to
down
come
there?
back.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Jet lag still
I don't
hitting
know.
me.
I'm going to
Fell
the
asleep on
Philippines
couch.
tomorrow.
When you got weird, they
So I
go,
got
Maybe
back
Monday.
Sunday
I'm
night,
thinking maybe
but
Monday.
then
and your trip was how long?
trip was 2 weeks.
channel. Be sure to subscribe today over at youtube.com and search Fox Sports The Gamble. Once again, over on YouTube, search Fox Sports The Gamble. And I just won $1,000. Now's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Pay. That's pay. Enter it now.
How do I punch him up? I don't know. What are you looking for?
What's his number?
He's calling back. He's there?
We're gonna have to call him.
What is going on in this place?
What's his number?
Could you join the
856 832
mute the mic?
75
Mute the mic.
You there? Yeah. All right, we're going live. Here we go. You the man. Hang tight. Thanks, buddy. It is the Gambler Block Party where everything is going flawlessly. Is flawlessly a
Isn't
word?
It is
Flawless.
actually.
All right, good. Yeah.
No, wait.
Let's go to our
Flawlessly? Yeah, I think so.
Let's go to our wordsmith. Victor Williams, is flawlessly a word? Yes or no? Okay,
yeah, seamlessly
good
better.
call,
Yeah,
good
yeah,
call,
that's
good
a good call.
All right. It is
Wordsmith Victor
Yeah,
Williams.
there you go. I mean, he is a writer and he is a damn good one over at the Liberty.
I feel like block parties, things never go right anyway. You know, something goes wrong. You know, whether it's the grill, you know, so kids get all upset about something. It's always something, right?
You know what? I like the way you just put that. You're right. All right. And as a parent,
But at the end of the day, we're all one big happy family.
I should. Does that get said a lot at the Jansons?
Actually,
It
yes.
does. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get on out to the Gambler Hotline. We're going to go down to Seattle City. And he's our Eagles insider from the LibertyLine.com, year 4, season 4. And we're going to do it bigger and better this season. Of course, Victor Williams. Victor, what's happening, brother? You've never been inside the OD.
What?
That's fair. Well, you got to go no shower happy hour. That's what you got to do, number 1. No shower happy hour. But, yeah, I don't know. Luke, there must be something up with that 5 over there. I don't know because that's all right.
Both 2 headphone jacks.
What's up, Vic?
2,
I can't hear you.
Yeah, well, Vic, yeah, all right. Luke Arcaney over there said, what up? All right. Victor Williams live from Seattle City. And Vic, of course, man, had to get you up on here because we're at the halfway point of the year. And now everyone's really starting to look at like the football schedule and maybe, you know, we're starting to get
we
the
have
itch.
studied that.
Yeah, starting to get
we've
the
all
itch.
studied.
For you though, Victor, I see you're putting out some content right now. Like, what's hitting you when it comes to the Eagles right now? What is the first thing that is getting you excited at this moment in time about the Philadelphia Eagles? You know, I love the wide receiver 3 conversation. I do. But please allow me to stir it up just a
That's
little
where the
bit.
Eagles are at. Wide receiver 3
Yeah,
is
we're-
what the
exactly.
position we're talking about.
You know, and I don't want to give Uncle Colin that shine, but you know, I didn't have an issue with what he said, and he laid out the fact that the schedule is going to be a little bit more difficult this year. Of course, when you win a division, you're number one team. That's what happens. He also, you know, add the age in there. But the one thing that definitely did catch my attention, and I'm like, all right, Uncle Colin, I'll give that to you because it's facts. They lost both of their coordinators. How fast do you think this is going to be as far as a smooth transition? Do you think this is something that's going to be an issue as far as the regular season is concerned? I don't care what happens in July or August, but losing both coordinators cannot be a good thing for progress into the next season. So where do you stand on that? How much of an issue will it be on the offensive side and the defensive side? Mm-hmm. All right, talking to Victor Williams. Be sure to catch all of his content at the Philly Pod, and of course, read him over at thelibertyline.com. Last one for me, boys, and of course, I'll open it up to you guys. Don't hold back. Eagles conversation here with Victor, and yeah, right.
It's because we just ate food.
Yeah,
so.
no, we did stuff our faces there, but that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. Yeah, we got the itis a little bit. Franksteaksphilly.com, folks. Unbelievable spread. We'll get more into that in just a second. But as far as where we stand, we know where the bar is, right? Like this team
Victor is definitely knows where the bar is right
man.
now.
Yeah. There's some good ones down there. Yeah. And don't be afraid to go to Stone Harbor and all that too. You know, all that. All right. We know that this team has to get back to a Super Bowl for us to look at this upcoming season, and say that was a success. And even then, some people might not view it as such. I would be absolutely arguing on the other side of that, but I'll give it, Philadelphia passionate fan base. If they don't come back away with a Super Bowl victory, what are you doing? Anyways, I really do feel like this is a special team, right? But if you had, and I know you kind of just tiptoed into it as far as on the defensive side, and I'm not trying to give you the answer here, but if you had to pick, you know what? There's going to be a moment where this unit is going to struggle, or this I could see becoming a flaw, and therefore could translate to a loss that we don't expect. I was listening to Sports Talk Radio on the way in. It was Cowherd and McIntyre, and he was like, "Well, tell me where you see 6 losses." Yeah, we're already locked into 2 against the Giants wins. We're locked into 2 against the Commanders. We're locked into the splitting against the Cowboys. I hope it is that easy, but I guess I'm asking you, if you could see a flaw, where would it be in this upcoming season with the Eagles team? Mm. Mm.
Just real quick about the defense. What are your expectations for Nakobe Dean now that he's going to take on obviously a larger role and a lot more responsibility?
Gerald Colton.
Hey, Victor, Gerald here. How are you doing? Well, I'm curious about one thing that strikes me about the way the Eagles usually do things and what Howie does sort of late, either approaching camp or during camp. And he made two big acquisitions last year that were not up to the date yet that he did those, which were Bradbury and CJ Johnson Gardner. I would not be surprised to see the Eagles add a linebacker, maybe even a safety or another D back. Any thoughts or and are you scouring what are possibilities that could be casualty out there on the wire or some other things where the Eagles can make one of those acquisitions of somebody who winds up playing a significant role for them? Because CJ Johnson Garner was terrific, led the league in interceptions. Bradbury was a second team All Pro, so they really did great. And those are two big cogs in that defense.
Mm. Victor Williams, always great to hear from you, sir, as we are in the middle of this summer. And of course, we got a football season right around the corner. There's only one way to end this hit right here. And of course, you're in Seattle, so you do your thing. But for the first time in probably since February, the Eagles fight song plays right here on The Gambler. Victor Williams, you are the man. Enjoy Seattle, my friend. Don't be playing with fireworks down there, all right? And we will catch up when you get back. Continue to read you at thelibertyline.com, following all things at the Philly Pod. Always a pleasure, sir. You're the best. My man, there he is once again, Victor Williams, live from Seattle City.
It actually feels good again to listen to this song.
Oh, man.
It feels good again.
Heard this.
Because it hurt for a while. It hurt for a long time.
Yeah, it hurt bad.
And now the juices are gone. Now it feels good again.
We heard that song a lot last
Yeah, we
year.
did.
They scored a ton of points. Hey, look, all I know is I think this team is destined for another Super Bowl, and I think they run it back against Kansas City. I think it's a little more difficult over there in the west side of things or the AFC side of things because you got Cincinnati, but
Not just Cincinnati.
I'm not scared of San Francisco. I'm not. I think San Francisco actually goes under their win total, and I would take it under 10 actually.
Yeah, Brock Purdy's not a good quarterback.
San
Like,
Francisco.
I'm sorry. It's just
They don't
he's
stink.
not.
Come on, man.
They don't stink. No, that's a
good team.
That's a top roster in the NFL. One of
Yeah.
the best rosters in the NFL, bar none.
Shanahan's a hell of a coach.
Their problem is
they don't have a quarterback.
they don't have a quarterback.
Yes.
And
Without a
Brock Purdy
quarterback.
is not the answer. Brock Purdy would not have won that game
Yeah.
against the Eagles, and they probably wouldn't have scored that many points anyway. And Trey Lance, they drafted to be that guy, and he's not going to be.
Could he be that guy though?
He hasn't played like a
Look,
full
I don't
season
know,
since,
because-
high school.
Yeah,
It's
and
true.
his development, we haven't heard that. It's so
Right.
funny. I hear more about Malik Willis taking a step forward this year than I have heard about Trey Lance taking a step forward. And Trey Lance is what, in his third year now? So if we're not hearing that out of 49ers camp, that tells me he's not developing the way that they thought. And if the conversation's still Brock Purdy, I think their best quarterback on that roster is Sam Darnold. I truly believe that. Truly believe that.
TBD on that one. And again, I just don't have confidence in Purdy, but he earned it. They played really well with him.
People
That's
have
why
to,
I'm kind of worried about Trey Lance coming out of nowhere.
I know that with Brock Purdy played well, but also Davis Mills played well in his first year. Sometimes guys overperform what they are, and especially when you're in Kyle Shanahan's offense, you're going to overperform, but that doesn't mean that's who you are. Brock Purdy, I guarantee you, when he comes and starts in the league this season, he's not going to play like he did last year.
I
Will
agree.
not.
I agree with
Absolutely
that. Especially how he's dealing with the injury that he's coming
not.
back
That
from.
too. Yeah, that too. That's a big part in that.
All right.
I mean, didn't he have a Tommy John? It's an elbow injury. Like, it's a
Correct.
huge injury. So yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah. And who knows how long that will, prohibit him from really getting in there and practicing. Like if he's going to go stroll into training camp week 2 in August, yeah, like I'm betting against him all day. Again, I think the 49ers, it's really tough to find the losses on the schedule as they talk about
Because their defense is so good, and
correct.
offensively, their
Yeah.
running game wins
you
games.
got to believe in Shanahan.
Absolutely.
Man. You got to believe in Shanahan. But you
But
got to believe
that
in
can
the
only take them
Bears.
so far. Then we've seen that Kyle Shanahan has only been taken so far, and Jimmy Garoppolo is the best quarterback he's had, and he's not even that good. And they couldn't even win the Super Bowl.
Gerald, I know you're ready to go for some Eagles conversation.
Can't wait.
What's on your mind?
Can't wait. Well, I am excited, and I agree with you that it's a special group of guys, and I'm excited for them to run it back again and have one more year under Jalen Hurts' belt, one more year under Nick Sirianni. And when you talk about the coordinators, I don't think losing Jonathan Gannon is a loss, but
Shane
on the
Steichen.
the offensive side and the play calling, it could be. I mean, Steichen really was.
He called
very
plays,
valuable.
correct?
Correct, and he was a really good play caller. Kept the defenses off balance. So that could be a major adjustment, major change. But in general, there's a lot to be excited about. And last year was magical up until the end. And the ending, of course, but for the bullet, Mrs. Lincoln, how was a play type ending, but everything broke right also all year long. And you hope that happens. Football's a little dangerous that way. It is about staying healthy, and you hope they can do it. But they have a great roster, and they've just done a great job of even filling in stuff. And now they have the mix of the young players coming in while you still have the veterans of leadership. And everything's right there for this team to be a champion. And you'd hate to get through this era without getting one. And hopefully they start getting their first one this year.
Yeah, and the transition I think is going to be pretty smooth with both coordinators too, because the side plays the same scheme, same philosophy. So all these guys, it's not like they have to change positions. It's not like they're going from a 4-3 to a 3-4, anything like that. All positions stay the same. Maybe it's just a little bit of tinkering, maybe some different coverages at different times. But even with the offense, it's going to be the same scheme. Like it's not like they're going from a triple option to a spread offense and you have to change everything around. It's all pretty much the same. It's a different flow, obviously, with a play caller because each play caller is different. And so I'm sure the language is going to be a little bit different. The flow of the game is going to be different a little bit. But in terms of the structure of the offense and structure of the defense, it's all the same. So that's really a good thing. And I think smooths over. And Desai hopefully can kind of have another opinion and look at some of the things that went wrong and try and correct those. And I think that's a good thing.
And the only other note, Sean, of any kind of just, and I wouldn't say negativity of question mark, is that they are relying on some guys who haven't had to do it for them in the past. And that being the Nakobe Dean in a big role. And even Blankenship now as a starter and, it's a whole different safety tandem back there. And we still have the same punter, don't we? That was one thing I thought we'd upgrade.
I think so. Yeah. Did they not upgrade?
Punter talk. That's July right there. That's our June sports talk.
Well, the other punter retired. Brett Kern retired.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he's definitely not coming
I
back.
just know that the pun in the Super Bowl killed him.
Yeah.
It was one of the really, really bad plays. You look to, there were 6 or 7 things that had one of them happened differently, it would have changed the outcome.
Well, is that
and
one thing
was
they need
of
to
them.
get better? Special teams. Special teams was not good last year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something that hopefully they can improve on. I don't know what differences would be made, but yeah, I think that's a good point because special teams, they were fine throughout the regular season, get by with it. But the Super Bowl, that mattered. That was the biggest difference in that game.
There's only so much that they need to improve on, right? They had a great
I know we're talking
season
about
last year.
special teams and a middle linebacker.
Well, again, it's a whole new year, and we've seen teams with expectations not meet them before. But I just feel like this team is built different, and it's all, of course, led by Jalen Hurts. That's one of the things that goes through my mind immediately when we start talking about Shane Steichen is that, all right, yeah, he called all the plays last year, but now Jalen even more comfortable in the system, and maybe he starts dialing it up a few, hang on to the football, Jalen, please, if you don't mind. I did see Kelsey say, he's beating himself up. And I mean, Jason, he did drop the ball for 7. Just saying.
I was going to
Just
bring
saying.
up that with expectations, though, because that is the biggest difference for this Eagles team is even, I think, the most optimistic outlook last year. We didn't have them pegged as a Super Bowl team. And I think,
a lot of people did, though.
yeah, I mean, I think
those people were like 17 games last year, 13-4. And then I'm like, no, and they were right.
We do that every year.
They were right.
I think
the one time that they're right.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
locally definitely
You
way more
would-
ahead of it than nationally.
Sure.
But this year is now like they are that team. They have that target on them, and they now got to figure that out, how to retool, how to keep that same level-headed mindset. So it is a different challenge this year that they're now on the map. But I do agree that they seem to have the personalities and the mindset to get it done.
Well, they do have an organization that has had long-term success, so they know how to do. Obviously, Sirianni a little bit new to that, and Jalen Hurts, but your organization from the top, and we kind of see this. If you want to look at the Sixers side of things, the top didn't know how to win, and that trickles down all the way. I know Gerald has said that, and it's trickled down. The Eagles have long sustained success, and obviously after Andy Reid left, a little bit of turmoil and things like that, and Chip Kelly. But once they do find it, they can keep it. And so you're right that that's a new challenge, but I think that's a challenge that they can actually take on because of ownership and because of the culture that they've built. And that even goes to Howie Roseman as well.
Tim
I think it
O'Keefe.
really-
Oh, no, sorry, Luke, what do you got?
You're good. No, I think it really just boils down to is the guy leading your team. And I think we saw Hurts last year. And if Jalen Hurts is on the field, you're always going to have an opportunity to win. No matter how he's playing. I think he's played bad games last year and they still won those games. I think it comes just from a mindset that he's always had. And I think it really went up to a different level last year. And I think it's only going to keep going up. He seems like a guy that's never going to not necessarily go down, but he's never going to settle for less than he already had.
There was a great article. I don't know if you guys caught that last week about the drafting of Jalen Hurts that was on the Athletic.
Yeah.
Oh, it was tremendous because it took you back down memory lane. But they were just. Did you see that article? I put it out there. I forget who wrote it.
Did they bring up any of my tweets?
No,
Hopefully not.
but it just
none of them were good.
It went back to how they originally started getting on his trail and what he was able to do and what really jumped off the page. And of course, all the stuff he went through at Alabama. But the fact that he was able to go to Oklahoma to play under
Lincoln
Riley,
Yep.
excuse me. Yep. And
Completely different offense than he's ever played in.
they said he mastered it. He played well in that
He did.
offense. So,
He did.
to go from Alabama with the expectations, to deal with what he had to do, to go to Oklahoma, the writing was on the wall there. And it's crazy to go back and think about that draft. And when
Well,
they
it's
played
crazy to
Because
hear
when
that.
they released his draft video, I think they might have released it like around the NFL draft, the one that just happened, and you could just see from day one, the only thing he cares about is winning. It's not like many other athletes in this city. It's just that's what puts him towards the top for me. It's just all he wants to do is win, and he'll give anything up for that, which I think is something that you need to lead a football team.
We got Roy Burton coming here. We gotta
Hey.
let him in. We're gonna take a quick time out. Tim, you hold that thought. Roy's coming, and we're gonna get into some fantasy football conversation. He's our fantasy guru for the Gambler. I'm looking forward to talking about all things fantasy with him. But one quick question here: has Carson Wentz played his last snap in the NFL? Yes or no? No.
I don't think so.
Some team will get desperate enough to do it,
Yes.
but he shouldn't.
He's gonna play
Yeah,
again.
He will.
I think he plays again. Yeah.
Yes, I can't wait
Maybe
for the
like
Carson
another
Wentz
game?
USFL comeback story.
Well, yeah. I mean, USFL
Wow.
and XFL, if he wants to, that's on the table. He should not play another down in the NFL. It's.
He shouldn't, but he will.
Exactly.
Oh, of course he will.
at
He will.
some
Yeah.
point.
He's
And
a former number 2 overall pick. He's going to get as many chances as long as the team is desperate enough. He'll always have a chance.
What a
Same with Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson will be the same thing. We know Zach Wilson's not good. He will always have a chance.
Now he's in a good spot right now with Rodgers.
He is. I kind of hope the best because I mean
get out of here.
I know.
I care
still,
about Zach Wilson.
It's like Zach Wilson. It's just you want players to succeed, and obviously things went really south for him. He became a punching bag for a lot of people, for the butt of a lot of jokes. I don't want that for anyone.
And
you know?
he's not out there killing bears and ducks.
Well, you know
and
what? It's not.
everything
It's not his fault because the Jets,
Excuse me.
really, they overextended themselves there. They put Zach Wilson in a position that he was just never going to succeed.
No. All right. Like I said, Roy Burton's going to join us on the other side. We'll keep the conversation going. Of course, Sean Bernard is here, all things 76ers. So we will stay on the latest rumors. We got a lot to get into. It's the block party right here in the Gambler. Don't go anywhere more after this.
Go Birds.
Nice Eagles conversation.
Damn, I haven't even.
You're the man, Joe. Thank you for stopping by, brother.
Where are you off to for the weekend?
I'm here.
Local.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hitting Van Phil's.
No, They're good. All right. Oh, you're right. Say, man, smooth operation. So with that happening, Dame, Sixers, Joel Embiid, as I said, connect the dots on the starting five, whatever pieces you have. Maxey will be gone. Of course, Harden's gone. Does Tobias gone?
I still think
Tobias
so.
gone.
Yeah.
So we're filling in the pieces, right? But you got Dame and you got Joel Embiid. Does that bump them in front of the Boston Celtics in your mind?
I don't know if it bumps you in front of the Boston Celtics, but I think it kind of keeps you as that, second best team in the Eastern Conference. I think the goal of all of this, the goal of the process was to get two guys who can lead you deep into the playoffs. And I mean, like ending this whole, run with Joel Embiid and Dame Lillard, basically both in their primes, is a really good outcome. So I know we talked about it, off air. I know we all love Tyrese Maxey. We love him. Like, the kid's lovable. He's a great kid, averaging 20 points a game. He's like 23 years old. He's destined for a lot of great things in this league. Dame Lillard is Dame Lillard. I mean, like when you have an opportunity to get a guy of that caliber and a guy who can be that closer that you desperately need, as we saw in Game 6 and Game 7 of this past postseason, I think you have to do it and just kind of figure it out after.
Oh
that.
yeah. I what is there negative about it, right? I mean, there's always going to be somebody out there that's saying, no, hang on to Tyrese Maxey. And again, we all love Tyrese Maxey. Right. So it's not like I want to push him out the door, but this is Dame. And we went through the list of like, you could make the case. I'm not going to. I'd say Clyde Drexler is still the best trailblazer of all time. He had more success in the playoffs, and I think that would push me to him. But you can absolutely make the argument for Damian Lillard. And if you got an opportunity to land Damian Lillard with Joel Embiid, doesn't it feel like that's the perfect combination?
Yeah, I mean, so first I'll push back on two negatives for the Maxey thing. So the number one is you're just further shortening the window that you're now really looking at. Like, you have to win a championship within the next 3 years, maybe even 2 years, I think is probably more likely with that. And then there's nothing after this. Like, Gerald just talked all about the lack of assets, the lack of, I guess, promise, draft picks, everything.
This is it.
That's it. And there's no like Maxey is very much that bridge to the next generation of the Sixers still having some form of success. And I very much think there's a world where Joel Embiid is still an effective player without being leading the NBA in scoring guy, where he can take a little of those responsibilities off. Maxey continues to add on. If you get another piece who's along for that journey, that's still a contender. So that's my one conversation there. And otherwise, when we talk about actually contending for a championship, the Sixers' biggest weakness continues to be perimeter defense. Jason Tatum's not going anywhere for the Boston Celtics. They still have nobody that can match up with him and guard him, and that still needs to be near the top of the list. That's why when I try and look at Paul George, I know is probably out of the question, but that archetype of player who is a wing-oriented, able to at least kind of match up with that, Tobias Harris just isn't that guy. He's not quite to that level. They need to find somebody a little closer than that, and Dame doesn't check that box either.
Man, I look over at what Dame would bring, and
he's awesome.
Yeah, he's not scared of the moment. Is he the perfect player? No. Like you said, defensively, I don't know. You'd have to speak a little bit more on that. I don't look at him as a guy that's Chris Paul out there on the defensive side of the ball in his prime. But just the mentality that he possesses, it's Dame time. Look at the success that he had in the playoffs where, dude, a lot of people can't even name the second player on those Trailblazer teams, and they knocked off the Oklahoma City Thunder with Paul George and Russ on that squad.
Yeah.
And he's had success in the playoffs. I just think you give him Joel Embiid and there's no more excuses. Look out. But peace, Ty, hold it down. I just look over and see Dame in a Sixers uniform, and I mean, I'm floored, just absolutely floored. So.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. It's a different kind of pairing with Embiid. I think one of the positive things with James Harden is we talked all about the playmaking. We saw that pick and roll, and there were absolutely flashes where it looked terrific. They're not replacing that, but I also they shouldn't just be trying to replicate the same thing in a different guy. Dame Lillard, his best moments are more or less him calling his own shot, taking it and creating it, and he's very good at it, probably up there with the best in the league. He definitely is that big time moment. He's not going to run from the spotlight in the way that we saw from James Harden in splashes. Or in flashes, it's worth a shot. And if it's on the table, the Sixers should absolutely go down this lane, but it very much is an all-in move.
All right. Anybody want to add anything on that one?
Well, I think, if you have an Embiid and a Lillard, that would be the two pieces where you can attract other players to come as well. I think that's the key that you want to think about. I mean, Tyrese Maxey's great, but he's not the type of guy that, as of right now, people are kind of clamoring to play for. If you have an Embiid and Damian Lillard, cornerstone, keystone, you're going to get guys that come on mid-level deals. Guys come on vet minimum deals. So
Yeah.
I think that's another key to kind of filling out that roster. Wouldn't be so hard if you have those two.
Pat
two guys together.
Bev, bring him in.
Yeah. I love Pat
I'm
Bev.
proud.
No, you know, look,
This team needs a dog.
Yeah, you know, I just would say something like that. Hey, is there anything? I know we're all focused on the Sixers. What else is happening in the NBA? Dante DiVincenzo, is he going to the Knicks?
Yeah, it's looking like we're getting a Villanova reunion
Wow.
completely under there.
So that's Brunson, that's Hart,
Mhm.
DiVincenzo. Am I
Yeah.
missing anybody else?
I think
from Villanova.
I think that's everybody up there. Which
Chris
is
Jenkins unretiring.
Yeah.
Cam Whitmore trade.
Yeah. Jeez.
Flash
man.
forward 2 years and Jay Wright taking the helm. Don't count it
I
out.
did say that. I did say that a couple years ago, a matter of fact, because I said Jay loved Madison Square Garden. And this was before all the Knicks stuff. But I did make a phone call. All right. I made 2 phone calls. I got one answer with this whole Cam Whitmore stuff. And then it went into Jay Wright. And they told me that Jay was talking about retirement like 5 years ago. Like this was, before he retired. So he ain't coming back no matter what, and especially now, like he's doing big things with CBS.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's extremely happy at this point in time, and rightfully so. He earned it. But speaking of that Cam Whitmore situation, all I know is I think we're going to find out medically that there was something not right. I know that there was people talking about Kyle Neptune, trash talking his player. There's nothing to gain. And you're looking at a guy who was supposed to be top 5, top 6 pick. Still, regardless, was a first-round pick. There's money there. It's a shame to say it like this, but universities need those type of people that get paid that type of money to give back. That's how, they're able to be successful and keep the culture rolling. You're not going to trash talk your own player. There's just nothing to gain. And the guy absolutely, like I said, we do stuff with Villanova. There's no shying away from that. He's like, dude, there's zero truth behind that. That's not what Neptune would do. There's the real deal Villanova culture, and it didn't just disappear because Jay Wright's no longer. First of all, Jay Wright is there. He's still there. He's got an office there. He's still involved. He still talks to Neptune all the time. Neptune is not going to ruin the culture just because maybe they didn't see eye to eye and he didn't play him a few times at the end of games. So I know Ryan Russillo is Mr. NBA and his word's gospel, but I'm here to tell you that ain't exactly how it's playing out behind the scenes at Villanova. That's all.
Yeah, and I'll say I actually was at the Philly Live showcase the Friday before the draft where Kyle Neptune and a couple of the assistants were. I went up and talked to him for a little bit.
Did you?
They gave me the answer you'd expect. The workouts are going well. Things are good.
Nice.
There was nothing to make a break either way, but it definitely wasn't. It was what I expected from an answer from that.
Nice. Yeah. Again, I don't think Neptune had a great first year.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't like the expectations couldn't be. Well, I don't know whether your expectations are different to each their own. He had a pretty good team.
Mhm.
He had some playmakers. He had some, and there were some tough losses. They lost to DePaul 2 times. That's a tough pill to swallow from Villanova, but I digress. Cam's a hell of a ball player. I just feel like there's going to be something medically that comes up, whether it was his hand, they talked about possibly a knee, nothing concrete at this point in time, but you don't slide from 5 to 6 down to 20 because your coach is saying whatever, there's definitely something else there, but we'll find out. And of course, Cam in Houston, right? You got to think that that's a good spot.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he gets. They were talking about potentially picking him at 4 to get him at 22, and it's a place where he can play through his mistakes a little bit. He fits that athletic model. Those guys, all these guys that can handle the ball. It's the archetype of player that they're looking at, and for good reason. And I like Cam Whitmore. I honestly think Villanova was not the best spot for him as far as his developmental track. I think, and I think it gets brushed over too often. Missing the first 7 games of a season as a freshman.
Was that it?
I believe it was 7.
Oh, I thought it was more than that.
Yeah, but missing that time with the injury, missing preseason leading up to it, that's a difficult spot to get thrown in as a guy. So I think it was definitely a little bit of an underwhelming season for him, but there's reason for that.
All right. Luke, I know you want to get into some Phillies conversation. We'll do that coming up here in a little bit. We got Phillies coming off a big-time sweep over the Chicago Cubs. It's the block party here. But, again, free agency right now. Sean, back over to you. What's the latest? What else can we expect? I mean, is there any names that possibly could – like Andre Drummond, that's the definition of slop, right? Shout out to Trill. That's a slop right there, like the capital letter slop. What else could we expect possibly today when the clock strikes 6 o'clock here coming up in 37 minutes?
I think the Rockets are going to be active. I think there's real smoke to that. I expect both Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks to end up in Houston.
Wow.
Interesting signings there.
What's Dylan going to get? What type of money is he going to get?
Dylan Brooks, I'm less sure. VanVleet, it sounds like a 2-year, $80 million deal, which is a lot of money for VanVleet. But the Rockets,
he could have got more if he stayed in Toronto, right?
Yeah, but I think the longer deal, I think he wants a short-term cash out and figure it out from there. The Rockets sound like they're only offering 2-year or less deals to guys, which is interesting as well. I guess they're keeping in mind they have this young core. They got to keep money around for when those guys are ready to cash in on their big tickets. Dylan Brooks, I don't know what his number is going to look like. I think that the pendulum has swung to where he's a little more hated than his actual
swung.
Yeah, he's still a second team all defensive guy.
I was a Dylan Brooks guy at Oregon. It's not to say that I'm not anymore, but like, yeah, you're right. I think a lot of the negativity is bleeding into my end.
Yeah.
Did he bite off more than he could chew?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is that a possible learning, situation for him? I hope, but maybe, I don't know. I maybe I'll give him too much credit because he seems like he's a rockhead. He don't care.
if those guys end up in Houston, what happens to the young guys, like the Porters, and I'm sure Jalen Green's still gonna have a role, but what are the other guys? Are they moving those guys?
That's what hasn't made sense to me. And the same thing with the James Harden rumors is I feel like the Rockets are trying to skip steps in the rebuild, that they're not letting these guys play through. And Amin Thompson, who they did take for, is awesome. He's going to be a blast to watch this year. Like, for me, I would be giving.
I like both of those kids.
Yeah,
those are good
seem
kids.
awesome kids.
Good kids.
Yeah. For me, I'm give these guys as many minutes as possible. Let them just figure it out on the fly at the NBA level. But they do seem determined to bring in veterans to have that kind of presence, locker room, whatever. I do see the value in that, but I think you can get that on like in Ish Smith or like guys that don't need to be on the court the whole time. So I don't know. It's a little bit of a philosophical difference in Houston. I'm interested to see what they actually end up getting pen on paper there.
All right. Well, again, the free agency counter is on. Look at this. What is the deal with that wheel?
It's called spinning the Eastern Conference wheel here.
Ooh, I like that. Hey, see, all right, Richard Jefferson with his nipples out. Like, dude, come on, bro. Like, he's a good-looking dude. He's holding it down for bald people. I get it. I love Richard Jefferson, but we were yelling about this the other day. It's like, dude, you're on national TV, and it's like, my man's at the I don't know, the club, like Chippendales or whatever, I don't know. Maybe nobody cares.
Should he have jorts on? Like, what's
yeah, exactly. Coming from me over here. That's all right. VC. Oh, you know what? Let's just jab at this and it's unfortunate. This is where we're at right now. And if you want to get in this industry, I know a lot of us could speak on it. It's tough. It's tough. I lost my job at the radio station. I got fired. So I hate the reporting on it. I really do. But of course, we're talking about guys and girls that are making some good money up there at ESPN, and it just sucks seeing anybody lose their job. But apparently, some big names lost their gigs at ESPN, including over on the NBA side with Jeff Van Gundy and Jalen Rose. I'm not going to ask thumbs up, thumbs down by no means, but Jeff Van Gundy was pretty damn good, right?
Yeah.
And Jalen, I don't know. Jalen, I love Jalen Jacoby.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love Jalen Jacoby. Jalen on the post-game show, on the that pregame show isn't it. It's an infomercial. It literally is. That's all they go segment spots at promos. And it's like, all due respect to Stephen A, he's not giving me anything. Jalen's good. I love Jalen Rose as a basketball. I think I own a Michigan Jalen Rose jersey, believe it or not. I don't wear it because anytime I did wear it, people were like, Michigan. I'm like, I didn't go. Yeah. And I had a lady one time come up to me and like, I'm Ohio State. I'm like, lady, I don't care. So I don't wear it anymore. But, the NBA coverage took a little bit of a hit over there. And then who else? Kellerman lost his gig.
McShay.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Susie
Colbert, who's there for 30 plus years. Yeah.
Pollock.
Who?
Yeah, David Pollock.
Wow. College game day.
Jeez. David Pollock lost his gig?
Yeah.
Wow.
Gee. I mean, is it literally to just get McAfee and Stephen A? Is that it? That's going to be the station?
Matt Hasselbeck and
Hasselbeck's out?
Yeah,
Hasselbeck's out.
Didn't do much. Man. Yeah. All right, so you got Brewski, you got Randy Moss, Rex Ryan still kept his gig. Perk. I don't want to hate on Perk because there are times I laugh, but he's just on too much.
Yeah.
He's going to be on more now.
You're damn right. Wait, you thought Stephen A was on a lot before.
He's going to do NFL draft coverage now.
I love it. All right, we'll keep it moving here, man. Yeah, and
Real quick to jump in, Doc Rivers is a potential candidate to replace Jeff Van Gundy. So at least
Oh my goodness.
he did television right before.
He did,
he did,
very
dude. He
briefly.
did.
But
You, you know, I can't help myself, Roy. It pops up on TV a lot these days. The Last Dance.
Last Dance is fantastic.
Oh my god, dude! And I
Got
just
me through the pandemic. It's
Yeah, I
fantastic,
just
man.
tune in. I'm watching it again like 2 nights ago, and they were showing the battles of the Knicks and the Bulls, and there was Doc and his head like put. I'm like, dude, look at Doc, how young he was there. I don't mind, honestly. As a commentator, I wouldn't mind Doc Rivers. You know, I don't know.
I thought Van Gundy and Jackson had really good chemistry. Like, I
Absolutely.
thought the two of them, I thought the two of them would, I mean, because there would be some bad games. And
Yeah.
the two of them would kind of get you through a bad third or fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And Mike Breen's a professional, so he is what he is. But
Breen's the man.
I think those two had a really good chemistry. And I mean, I know you have a chance to cut calls, so you're going to do it, but I don't think Doc Rivers and Mark Jackson are going to have that same kind of chemistry, even though, I mean, I know they know each other,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it's going to be the same.
Plus,
kind of back
like,
and
what
forth.
the hell price tag are you saving
Right.
by getting rid of Jeff Van Gundy and bringing in Doc Rivers? I
Rivers.
can't imagine Doc would be all that cheap.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And you were paying Jeff Van Gundy all that much? I don't know. It's very odd to me. And then I was wondering, are they going to go to two-man booth? Is it going to be Breen and Mark Jackson?
Yeah, probably.
That's what I've been afraid of with a lot of this. Why did that come up? That came up. I forget what it was. It wasn't AI or something like that, but not Allen Iverson. It was like artificial intelligence. That's Chat GBT, and how it's only going to be one person in the booth. And you know, I'm like, I wasn't buying that. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully that's not ESPN's direction. All right, we'll keep it moving here. It's the 5 o'clock hour. It's the block party. We got some tunes. We got some fun. Phils and Cubs. Phils and Nats coming up. Excuse me. Break out the brooms. Let's talk some Phils on the other side. All right. Get you set up for success as far as wagering is concerned on all things Phils and MLB. It's the Daily Ticket. The block party is on. Back after this. I got 19 buttons I'm hitting over here.
Do you want me to stay in this, or do you want me to just hop out? No, we'll get the blimp cam as the main cam.
Yo, we need
Yeah, laptop died.
get some microphones on all of these right here, man. Yeah, that's what we can do. We could get the plugs and or the handhelds. So you got Jansen on the ground over there.
Yep. I was gonna say
Next
you
time.
want to sit here? I get a stand.
I honestly just want to make this like, what the F is that? I can't believe that this isn't even the same right here. This call screen.
I don't know.
So odd. The fact that it's not the same just kills me.
Yeah, I would just call him. If you're still doing that.
Eastbound Pearl City Avenue to South.
Michael Grange said one agent I spoke with today said as many as 15 deals are already done league wide. Could be a busy 601.
Who said that?
Michael Grange. Raptors dude.
Grange.
Yep.
Just gonna grab that, flip it, put it right on. This guy tweeting all this holy shit. No, that's not him. That's Granger Smith. Sorry. What's his Twitter handle?
Michael Grange.
There he is.
Good looking profile pic.
Hell, Buster. He's probably all flustered down there too as well. He said, "Can I hear us?"
You got mute.
Yeah, the man. Powers Production. It's a block party jam right here. Come on. Little Michael McDonald coming your way. It is a 5 o'clock hour. What time is it? 5:35 here. Fox Sports Rated to Gambler. Of course, Sean Brace Daily Ticket with you here Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. Today, having some fun because next week, ladies and gentlemen, there will be no Daily Ticket. Yes, get a full week off. I'm looking forward to that. So, of course, everybody should have off the 4th of July and hopefully a day before or day after. If not, tell your boss the hell's the matter with them. Anyways, everybody have themselves a wonderful holiday. 4th of July, of course, be safe, eat lots of hot dogs and burgers. Jansen, what are you doing for the 4th? What do you got going on? What you got?
Went outside.
Jason's not in here.
No, it's all right. You ain't got to get him powers. It's all good. Sean, what do you got going on for the 4th, my friend? What are you doing?
I'll be after a tough cover show tomorrow with Mark Henry. I'll be heading down Cape May. So
Dude,
be down the shore.
buckle up for that show.
Yeah.
You got to bring him in, man. He is just distraught. And it's all over Harden.
Yeah.
So yesterday he was on the air with us, or on the air with me before like it went down. I said, any chance that there's a possibility of a sign and trade? Because that was something I heard like the day before or whatever. And he's like, no, man, this is what I've been saying on a tough cover, which he has. And I've been saying on the other end, like, I just feel like he's going to Houston, whatever, which wasn't true, wasn't right. But and then like 5 minutes later, boom, it went down. And you would have thought his dog died. I mean, he was distraught that that trade was taking place, and or the rumor of the trade was taking place, and James Harden would no longer be with the 76ers. And I'm not saying he's wrong because they were right there, but I don't know, man. You know, the definition of insanity, right? Does that apply here if you run it all back with just Nick Nurse and the change? Like, people weren't even buying in this year.
Right.
What do you think they were going to say next year?
That's my whole point on why I think this is a good thing in the long run. Is this is at least something different. It's a new try. It's a different angle or approach or however you want to put it. So it all depends how this shakes out, what the outcome is. But it at least is an avenue to possibly improve it.
All right, we will talk some Phils in just a second here. Of course, Luke Arcani, our Phillies insider, but we do have Michael Grange, who covers the Toronto Raptors, and he said one agent I spoke with today said as many as 15 deals are already done league-wide. Could be a busy 6:01. It is 5:38. Yes. We'll be all over it for you right now.
No tampering going on there.
None whatsoever.
None
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Tampering.
Zero tampering.
Son, this is the NBA. What do you think is going on
Jansen.
around here? Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, exactly. Coming up, though, I just want to point this out, though. 6 o'clock, Jansen, you put it in. Are you up coming up at 6 o'clock? Well, Powers, the divide. The divide.
Right. 4 hours of me.
The divide coming up at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Tim O'Kee, TKO _picks, balls, bats, and bets. Fresh off his honeymoon. Italy again?
Italy and Greece.
Italy
And
and
Greece.
Greece.
Nice.
Amazing.
How many days?
2 full weeks, one in each.
What place is better?
Dude, I so shocked. I thought it was going to be Italy going into it. I fell in love with Greece, man.
Really?
It's beautiful. The beaches is so relaxing.
Did you see that hill, right? Or that mountain, right? With all the
that
Oh,
hill.
you mean Santorini?
Yeah, that's it.
There you
that,
go.
that hill.
Everyone knows that hill.
Oh,
yeah, like
that hill in
The one-
Greece.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, got it. We gotta get you out of the house more, Brace. Jeez.
I mean, look, what is it? Pastificio? That's a restaurant downtown. Sorry.
Do you see that? By the way, do you see that stadium in Rome? The big stadium. You know.
Oh, the big stadium.
Yeah, the stadium. You know. Yeah.
Oh man, how red is my face right now? I love it, Roy. You're right in, Roy, seamlessly. I love it.
Nobody
dude.
could tell because your camera doesn't work.
Oh yeah, no. Smooth operation over here as always. All right. Let's talk some Phils though. Let's get this in here. Of course, we'll keep you up to date on all things NBA, Sixers, all of that good stuff. Luke Arcani covers the Phils for us. Big time sweep. And I just want to say, now everyone seems to be saying what I was saying 2 days ago. They have that look. They have that look. I know it was the Cubs, middle of the road team, whatever, but they've been winning a ton in the last 5 weeks. And right now, the way the consistency at the starting pitching, bats are coming alive. coming home to take on a weak national team. I believe we've got the Rays next week, which could be pretty good.
Yeah.
Is that a 2-game?
That's a 3 with they're gonna get one game will be Zach Eflin and another game will be I believe it's McClanahan. So
Okay.
definitely gonna be a tough series for them.
Yeah, and it's it's summertime. I'm
But
not
it's the
really-
Rays. They're
Yeah.
also a very good baseball team. They hit the
They're for real.
cover off of the baseball.
For real. Let's fire up DraftKings Sportsbook. Let's get a peek at the numbers as far as tonight is concerned. Phillies and Nationals.
They're a pretty heavy favorite.
Oh, I would imagine so, right?
Even with Sanchez on the mound.
As
they're at minus 180 right now. The over-under's around 9.5. Minus 1.5 is at plus 105. I do like that number.
So we got Christopher Sanchez on the mound for the Phils, Josiah Gray on the mound for the Nationals. Sanchez has been okay, right? I mean, he pitched in that game on Saturday against the Mets. He was decent there. Should we expect the same tonight?
Yeah, so I think he's been just about what he's needed to be for us so far. Back since from being down in the minors, a little injury. His first game against Oakland, he went 4 innings, allowed 1 hit, no earned runs. Next game was home against the Mets, 5 innings pitched with 3 earned runs allowed. But realistically, if you have a guy that can take down 5 innings for you and not completely lose the game for you, I think that's a better option than wheeling out these guys out of the like every game now, and just these like every 5 days thing where they're throwing out the bullpen guys. And we obviously know their record early in the year wasn't working with them when they were wheeling out Falter and Dylan Covey and all these just
the good times.
The true dog days of summer for them.
You know, I had some fun with this question. Sheffield Shuffler joined us yesterday. And again, if it's a hypothetical, it's a fun debate, barroom discussion. What would Topper do if the playoffs started today at the game 1 or game 2 starting pitching status?
So I think game 1 would be Zach Wheeler.
Hard to argue.
Listen, man, I think everyone still has confidence in Aaron Nola to be able to pitch a good start, but I think you have to look at Ranger maybe game 2. Ranger's been fantastic, and which is a good problem for them to have. I think when they originally brought Ranger up, I think they knew he was going to be a guy for them for a while, but he has a 2.7 ERA since the beginning of the 2021 season. And he's proven that he can be that Swiss Army knife. He was pitching almost every game last year in the playoffs. One game he would start, the next day he would be in the bullpen, and then he's in the 9th inning to close out the NLCS. He's proven to be a guy that can play in the moment, and it seems like he really just wants the ball in his hand. So honestly, if it was me, it would probably be Zach Wheeler game 1, Ranger game 2.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, and I think we're all in agreement on that. What we would do.
All right, I'm gonna throw one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One caveat with it. Ranger deserves it. If you're saying who's the better pitcher, I agree. But what does that do to Nola mentally if I slide him into the 3?
Oh, 100%.
That's the problem. I'm trying to. That's the only problem.
And listen, I still think Aaron Nola's a great pitcher. I think he's had the very much home run issues this year. But Nola's still Nola, and I think when his stuff is on, he's still one of the best pitchers in baseball. But when his stuff is not on, he is not extremely fun to watch. To
give up 5 runs with
short
ease.
terms, yeah.
I just said yesterday that when we had the fun time, I said if you don't pitch Ranger Suarez in game 1 or 2, I just felt it's malpractice.
Taijuan Walker's been fantastic. Like,
Listen,
what would you do with him in a playoff scenario?
He would be probably your 4th. But the Phillies are in a lot better situation than they were last year with the 4th starter. Because they were rolling out game 4 last year. It was a bit of Noah Syndergaard, which they kind of used him sort of like an opener last year in the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, Walker's been fantastic. I think he has a 1.5 ERA in June. I think his last 4 starts, he has like a 0.69. His stuff's really starting to work, which is something that he wasn't extremely consistent with in New York. I think he was a little bit all over the place. I think he gave you those really good starts, but at the same time gave you those pretty bad ones. And I think we saw that from him earlier in the year, but I think he's starting to really know his role. And I think he's a leader. And I think that's not something you always get from a guy towards the end of your rotation. I think a lot of times it's just these like random names that are just in there like every 5 days throwing for you. But he's a vocal guy in the clubhouse. There was a clip released of him the other night after he came off the mound, high-fiving every one of his teammates, talking to him, just being some sort of vocal leader in that clubhouse, which is, I think, something that they were struggling with a bit at the beginning of the year when they lost Reese, because Reese was obviously such a huge voice for them. But I think Walker's just been fantastic, especially over the last month.
He's coming along. You're right about that. And I'll tell you what, yesterday was really cool. First pitch of the game, home run, right? You know, like it's how you draw it up, man. You know, all those conversations of who you'd rather at the top. It's like, yeah, well, he continues to do that. You're going to win that argument. So hopefully Schwarber stays hot. Once again, Phil's minus 180 on DraftKings Sportsbook going down this evening at Citizens Bank Park. All right, we're continuing the conversation on all things. Anything else from Phillies? Anything else, MLB?
I'll just touch on the Ranger thing real quick. Like, with all due respect to Nola and Wheeler, as great as they are, I think you can make a real argument that Ranger Suarez is the guy to pitch around when you're making like a postseason rotation. Do you think, hypothetically, I know it's a long way away. Do you think
said if the playoffs started right now, that's the hypothetical, right?
Yeah, right.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So in that same situation, do you see Ranger being more of the Swiss Army knife in the same way we saw last year, where there's some bullpen work for him? You think he's full-time starter?
Because I think last year they had sort of I don't think their bullpen was as good last year. And I think Ranger has very much made himself a no doubt starter. Now, I think last year he came back from injury a little bit and then was in the bullpen a little bit and then went back to a starter. But then they started to realize that Nola and Wheeler were wheeling in the beginning of the playoffs last year. They were fantastic versus the Braves, fantastic versus the Cardinals. And I think they didn't really have a choice not to use Ranger last year because your next guy was Noah Syndergaard, who obviously he threw some.
Good Lord.
And he did throw some good innings,
but you knew he was going to get whacked. You just knew it.
He was bound for a game to get
he
dismantled.
Was easy money this year to bet against.
Yeah.
You know,
not as great of a year for sure as he had last year. But now, like you said, you have a guy like Walker now who, if for some reason something happened and you needed Ranger to be that Swiss Army knife again, I think it's easier for them to do it this year. But I don't see that
also
happening. I think you could more or less use Walker as one. I think that could come maybe.
What's the latest with Painter?
Yeah, so it's
he playing this year?
I'm gonna lean to say no. I don't think
I thought that would be a decent bump come September.
Listen, I hope, but I think if he does, I think it won't be till late August, September, and at that point, why
not just wait?
I hope to God that they just get it right.
Yeah,
they cannot get this one wrong.
No.
If it means to hold him out for a year for him to be 110% next year, then absolutely
no.
Especially with the possibility of Nola leaving and Wheeler leaving in the next year. You
that's pretty bleak.
You need to know that he's 110% ready to go for the rest of his career.
It's facts, though. You're spitting facts. That's Luke Arcani. TheLibertyLine.com covers all things Phillies for us. Great job, Luke, there. We'll continue the conversation. Get on over to the NBA. We got breaking news. You ready?
Oh, no.
Phoenix is planning to pull the qualifying offer for Jock Landale.
It means there's more in the works.
I could not even pick Jock Landale out of a lineup of two.
He can play.
I'm telling you right now, I couldn't pick out Jock Landale. I do like the name Jock, though. I like that.
He can play. He can play a little bit. I like Jock Landale. But I do think that means that there's more in the works in the Phoenix front. You don't just, he's a guy that is worth keeping a qualifying offer, so you have that option of matching an offer if somebody hypothetically wanted to throw a $20 million at Jock Landale, which I don't think was a likely case.
I watch the NBA a lot. I have never seen this guy in my life.
I love it.
Ever.
That's great. Jock Landale. That's a great name. We will be waiting. Of course, anything that's coming down the pipeline here, 6 o'clock is only 11 minutes away, but as we just referenced, there was some rumors out there from somebody that covers the Toronto Raptors, and he said at 6:01 expect an explosive amount of deals to be done. And it wouldn't shock us, right? It's the NBA. But again, I just want to know where the names are, and I guess connecting the dots on the east side of things, right? It's like, okay, we know the Celtics are going to be good. Who's that team that possibly could have some money to spend that could be coming up? Again, it comes back to a discussion that we had to start the show, Roy, where I got in an argument, not an argument, but a Twitter back and forth. And the guy was like, well, we're going to miss the playoffs. Like, dude,
Which is the East.
yeah, Sixers are going to miss the playoffs.
No.
But who is a team that is not the Boston Celtics? You know, could it be the Raptors? Could it be the Knicks that do some things that have some money to spend that could be coming out of nowhere? Like, what is a player that could be a difference maker for some of these teams out there? The Raptors, what's the deal with the Raptors? They're going to be losing a couple players here.
Yeah, it sounds like Fred VanVleet getting a little bit of traction back to him from Jake Fisher just reporting that. So maybe they're back in play for that. That could change things.
Get that money, man.
Yeah.
How do you pass that up? I mean, because that's what they say now is like, no matter, of course we know this. You get the most money where you can,
and then get
and then where you're going to go afterwards.
Go, right.
You know, it's not that hard to understand. So if I'm Fred VanVleet, I got to go to stay in Toronto and get the pay.
Yeah. I don't know where the Raptors exactly go from here. For me, like I feel like Scotty Barnes is probably their biggest ticket future piece, and I just don't believe in him as like a number one guy. I think he's an awesome player. I think he's a great connector. I think if you're trusting him as like the savior to your franchise and your building block, I don't think he's that. I think he could be. I think he's a guy that will fit the archetype of like an Aaron Gordon, where you see him as an incredibly winning player, but it's as a complementary piece. And I think they've done a lot of like play call, like trying to make him like run plays for himself. And OG Anunoby is also a question mark there. If he's ever actually moved, he's been an all like future trade team kind of piece guy that's always mentioned in rumors. So that could happen too. I don't know. I do think the Knicks are a team that are going to make a splash, and in the trade market, I expect them to be active as well. They have 4 first-round picks in next year's draft. So there's a lot to work with there. And the Jalen Brunson contract is aging terrifically, and Jalen Brunson's just awesome. So that team's ready to win if they can add a little more.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier this week too as well. Like Mr. Shark Tank, he screwed that up big time in Dallas. Thought he was the expert in deals. They got nothing in return for Jalen Brunson. And the writing was on the wall, right? He had the connection to the Knicks. You know where he was going to go. I wish, you know, I'm sure Dallas was like, yeah, we wish he'd stay or we drafted you. But he wanted to go with the Knicks. Oh, well, you got to get something for him. I don't know. It was like, what were they competing for? Were they that successful? I'm trying to remember.
The Mavs?
Yeah.
Well, they
had a good run in the playoffs.
Yeah, which Jalen Brunson very much led. He won a couple games without Luka. Yeah, exactly. Right. So that was like the start of, I would say, Jalen Brunson fully launching into that. And I don't know if the Mavs didn't think that he could catch that level of contract or earn that, or what their mindset was, but that was a huge miss, and it's been pretty downhill for the Mavs since that point.
Well, again, the big news of the day, free agency getting started here in 8 minutes, and we're going to have a bunch of deals. But before, of course, 6 o'clock comes around, we got to say peace out, because we've been doing this for a little while now, and it's Friday, and of course, we're riding off into the holiday weekend. But before we do that, please, Roy, let the people know where we can find you. What do you got going on? Plug in, all you, my friend.
Yeah, check me out on Twitter at the BS line for all sorts of fantasy stuff and whatever wrestling discussions I have with John Jansen.
Let's go
during the week. And also for fantasy, you can hit me up on the blog or the Substack, gtdecision.net.
gtdecision.net. All right. Excellent stuff. Roy there. Sean Bernard, you've been a busy man, and you're not going to sleep for the next week, but please let the people know where you can find you.
Yeah, I'll be on right here on these same airwaves tomorrow from 11 to 1 with Mark
I got to
Cameron
listen
Jr.
to that. I'm going to listen to that. That's going to be good.
Yeah, so excited about that. You can check me out on Twitter at Sean_Bernard1. I'll be reacting to whatever madness is about to go down tonight, so be locked in for that. Check out Pick Swap Media. I dropped some ideas for some James Harden trades on there.
Yes, you did.
So got in the lab, cooked some stuff up there. That's probably the newest thing that I got going. And other than that, yeah, we'll see how these next couple days play out, and I'll be reacting from there.
All right, I'm not a wrestling guy, but unfortunately, a guy by the name of Droz died.
Yeah, I saw that. Darren Drozdov. Yeah,
he looks like he would be a party animal.
He kind of was in the ring. He kind of was.
I mean, he's got the tongue piercing. Good Lord.
Sounds terrible, but I thought he was already dead.
Killing people, man. It's like Craig Carton. He's like, Pete Rose is alive? I thought he was dead. Like, dude, you're killing people on air. Tim O'Keefe coming up tonight. Balls, bats, and bets. Don't go anywhere. TK_picks. Great to have you back, Tim. What's happened with you, my friend?
That's it, man. Friday nights back on the Gambler. That was the only thing that I didn't like about being in Europe for that beautiful honeymoon, is that I was missing out on my Friday nights here.
Oh,
so,
man.
Dude, fantastic to be back.
Great you back in the rotation here, my friend.
Very pumped up. And now, and again, love the wedding. Happy I'm married. But now, I have a little more free time, ready to dive into more and more stuff.
Got a good
So,
glow to
excited.
you too, man.
You saw the hill. He's
Yeah.
back. He's ready to
Exactly.
go.
I saw the hill,
Yeah.
got the tan on the hill. We're good to go.
You sound like pastificio, pastafio,
Give it a rest.
pastafino.
We need to get a Sean Brace like European history
No.
/ European
Oh,
culture
that'd be
hour.
amazing.
Yes!
That'd be amazing.
Speaking of Tansy, he's been trying to get me to point at things on a map for a long time. Won't do it. Plenty of strengths. Luke Arcane, Phillies insider. Let us know, what do you got going on?
You can follow me on Twitter, last name, first name, at Arcani Luke, writing for the libertyline.com. Find all Phillies stuff there. Nothing else, really. That's about it.
All right, Powers Production.
Well, I got to shout out the Real Powers Productions. Give Us a Shot Network, German Tide.
Hell yeah, Germ,
Yeah,
man. Behind the
they're-
scenes.
Yeah, they're coming this week, so we're gonna be together this
Where?
whole to my house. So we're gonna be making content all week long.
Oh,
He's coming down from North Carolina, so he's kind of
Yeah.
bummed you guys are all off this week. but
yeah,
it's
that
all good.
sucks.
We'll
I was
do
just
our
gonna
thing.
say I would have came through, but
Yeah. It's all good.
we'll get
You gotta
something going.
enjoy
Hey,
it.
look, you never know, man. We got offered something in Cary, North Carolina earlier today, so we might be making content in Cary. Who knows?
Let's go.
Cary was a great time. I was down there. Lived there for a little while. All right, John Jansen, what do you got going on, dude? You got Parks tomorrow, right?
Nothing. Oh yeah, sure. I got that. I got Parks tomorrow, and then I'm done for the week.
Great, great
I'm
promo.
going to North Carolina this week.
Yes, you
So,
are.
yeah.
What part?
Very nice.
I'm going back to my school. It's good, nice
Pirates.
location to just relax, do nothing, cheap food and cheap drinks. So yeah, can't wait.
I did a live with Germ in Leland, and it was at a brewery. It was amazing, dude.
In North Carolina?
It's fantastic.
Right before you signed me, or whatever.
Yeah.
That was
Sign
Sean's
it.
biggest free agency pickup. Yeah. Any tampering involved in that?
Definitely Jock
Game changer.
Lansdale.
Yeah, I did see PFT actually said, something was on my timeline. He said North Carolina top 3 state.
It's a good state. I like it. It's a good state.
It's about as far south as I want to go. So, you know,
it's living that is as far south
I think
as I
North Carolina
I've
is
never really
the
been to the
best
West
state in the
Coast.
South. Let's just put
Yeah.
it that way.
Yeah, I would say best state in the South.
Yeah.
Because if you go any more south, it gets
Then
really
it-
hot. North Carolina
yeah.
summers are hot, but it's not that hot.
Gets
compared to
one dimensional down
South
there.
Carolina is the worst. And
Good
then you
on
get
that.
into like Georgia and all. It's too hot.
Yeah. And North Carolina got a little of everything. They got the city, they got the beach, the mountains, they got it all, man. My buddy's down there in Asheville begging me to go down. I got it.
Oh, Asheville's great.
Yeah,
Great.
man, yeah. Hey, coming up next, you get The Divide with Mike and Corey talking all things Phils, Yankees, and Mets. We feel for you, Mikey.
I know. We're talking about a sympathy dog. That's about it. That's all you can talk about with the Mets, man.
That's
It's a
great.
mess.
Beat that sympathy dog. Bow, bow, bow. I kid.
Also, all the Yankee announcers did not show up to Herman's little perfect game because they all were like, we're not going to Oakland. So there was next to no home run calls, perfect game calls for it. So we found the Spanish announcers. They did their job, dude.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Ricky Ricardo, I believe.
Ricardo.
Yes,
Yeah.
There you
he's
go.
the man.
Hey, appreciate everyone coming in. Thank you very much to everybody here, man. Shout out. Have a great 4th of July. We'll talk to you in a week. Peace. Nice job, boys. Thank you very much, man. Thank
Good
you,
stuff,
guys.
fellas.